They tried to bury you, but they forgot one critical detail. You are a seed. Their attack was the dirt you needed to grow. Every betrayal, every heartbreak, every attempt to break your spirit, it all backfired. They didn't dig your grave. They prepared your ground. Let's talk about your bloom. You have felt it your entire life. It is the cold wind of isolation that sweeps through a crowded room the moment you walk in. It is the sinking feeling that you are a stranger in your own bloodline, an alien in your own home. You have been wandering in the wilderness, not because you are lost, but because the city of your ancestors was simply too small for the magnitude of your spirit. This deep, echoing loneliness is not a symptom of mental illness or social ineptitude. It is a spiritual coordinate. You have been walking through a desert of misunderstanding because you were designed for a different climate entirely. The heat waves of rejection that have blurred your horizon were not accidents. They were fences. They were put there to keep you separated from a world that would have consumed you whole had you been allowed to fit in. You have looked at your reflection and wondered why you could never just be normal. Why you could never just blend into the beige wallpaper of existence like everyone else. The answer is terrifyingly simple. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out so starkly that you forced the world to adjust its eyes. Validate this truth right now. Every scar on your back is not a mark of defeat. It is the map of your ascension. You were born into a theater of exploitative people. These were vampires of the spirit who mistook your kindness for weakness and your silence for surrender. They saw the gold in your soul long before you did. They saw the empathy, the light, the boundless capacity for love that resides within you, and they did not admire it. They coveted it. They tried to mine it. They treated you like a natural resource to be extracted until the well ran dry. They picked at your confidence, chipped away at your self-esteem, and drilled into your peace of mind because they were hollow and you were full. They needed your substance to fill their void. But this is where their plan backfired. This is where the divine law intervened. By trying to crush you, they inadvertently initiated the process of your refinement. Hear this clearly. The crushing is the only way the oil is released. An olive that remains whole is just a fruit, but an olive that is pressed and crushed becomes anointing oil. You have been in the press. You have felt the weight of the world on your shoulders, the immense pressure of expectations, and the suffocating grip of toxic relationships. You thought it was the end. You thought you were breaking apart. But you were not breaking. You were spilling over. The essence of who you are, your resilience, your wisdom, your power could only be released through this immense pressure. To those currently lying in the dust, feeling defeated and used, the wilderness is not your grave. It is your womb. You are in a gestation period. You are being formed in the dark, away from the prying eyes of those who would sabotage your growth. You are rising above the pettiness of those who sought to use you. They thought they were the architects of your destruction, but in reality, they were merely the hammers used by fate to break the stone off your diamond. A diamond does not sparkle until it is cut. It does not shine until the rough, outer layer is violently chipped away. Those painful conversations, those nights you cried yourself to sleep, those moments of public humiliation, those were the chisel strikes. They were painful. Yes, but they were precise. They were removing everything that was not you. They were stripping away your need for external validation. They were cutting away your people's pleasing tendencies. They were shattering your reliance on false friends. What remains now is the indestructible core of your true self. You are not being punished. You are being purified. The diagnosis is not that you are broken. The diagnosis is that you are anointed. And the anointing is a heavy mantle to carry. It acts as a repellent to anything that is counterfeit. This is why you could never keep fake friends for long. This is why shallow relationships crumble in your hands. Your spirit literally rejects anything that is not aligned with truth. The isolation you feel is actually a form of spiritual quarantine. You were placed in the exile to protect you from the infection of mediocrity. If you had stayed in that toxic environment, if you had been accepted by those people, you would have become like them. You would have settled for a life of quiet desperation, masking your pain with temporary pleasures, slowly dying inside while smiling on the outside. But the universe loved you too much to let that happen. It made you uncomfortable. It made you an outcast. It pushed you into the desert so that you would be forced to find the water within yourself. Now, as you walk through this wilderness, you are beginning to see the mirage for what it was. You are realizing that the love you sought from them was never real. It was a transaction. You were purchasing their approval with your soul, and the price was too high. The exile has broken that contract. You are no longer indebted to people who cannot afford your worth. You are walking toward the mountain, not as a refugee, but as a pilgrim. The heat is forging you. The silence is teaching you to listen to your own voice. Loneliness is forcing you to become your own best friend. The backfire is complete. They intended to isolate you, to weaken you, but in your isolation, you found your strength. They intended to silence you, but in the quiet, you found your roar. They tried to bury you in the dark, but they forgot that you generate your own light. You have survived the diagnosis. You have survived the extraction. Now, you must understand the mechanics of why they hated you in the first place. You must understand the physics of your spirit. Think of the moments that stung the most. I am not talking about the grand betrayals or the cinematic heartbreaks. I'm talking about the small, confusing cuts of daily life. Recall the cashier at the grocery store who was laughing and joking with every customer in line. But the moment you stepped up to the counter, their face dropped into a mask of cold indifference or inexplicable irritation. Remember the friend who would look at their phone while you were speaking about your passions? Or the family gathering where you sat in the corner feeling like an invisible ghost in a room full of people who share your last name? These moments have haunted you because they defy logic. You have replayed these scenes in your mind 1,000 times, analyzing your tone, your posture, and your words. You asked yourself, what is wrong with me? Did I say something offensive? Do I have a repulsive aura? Why does the world seem to turn its back on me the moment I try to engage with it? You have carried the weight of this confusion like a sack of stones, convinced that you are socially broken or inherently unlovable. The heavens answer you today with a resounding clarity. Nothing is wrong with you. Everything is right with you. This phenomenon is not social awkwardness. It is spiritual repulsion. You must understand the fundamental laws of the unseen world. Light does not coexist with darkness. It irritates it. It exposes it. It burns it. When you walk into a room, you are not just a person entering a physical space. You are a walking anointing. You are a vessel carrying a frequency that vibrates at a level so high that it forces the demons and other people to wake up and look in the mirror. You disrupt the atmosphere simply by breathing. The reason that the cashier was rude to you is not because you were difficult, but because your spirit was loud. Your presence demanded a level of truth and purity that their spirit was not ready to offer. You made their demons uncomfortable. You were a sudden, blinding spotlight in a room where they prefer to keep the lights dim. This is the mundane decode of your suffering. You have been taking these interactions personally, thinking they are a reflection of your inadequacy. But in reality, they are a reflection of your power. The people who ignored you, the ones who ghosted you when you were at your peak, did not do so because you were small. They did so because your light was blinding their shadows. When you are chosen, you possess a natural lie detector in your spirit. People who are living in deception, people who are hiding secret sins or malicious intentions, cannot stand to be around you for long. Your very existence makes them feel exposed. It is as if you can see right through their masks without even trying. This terrifies them. Their rudeness is a frantic defense mechanism. Their silence is a desperate attempt to protect their ego from the conviction that radiates off of you. They ghosted you to escape a holiness they could not consume and a standard they could not meet. You must stop internalizing their reaction as your failure. It is their allergy to authenticity. Imagine a vampire trying to look directly at the sun. They must turn away. They must hiss. They must flee. This is exactly what is happening in the spiritual realm when you encounter people who are not aligned with your destiny. You are the sun in this metaphor. You walked into the room with a heart full of gold and intentions as clear as crystal, and their spirits trembled. They felt the weight of your destiny, and because they are empty, they felt judged by your fullness. Even if you never said a word, your vibration spoke volumes. It said, I am here for truth. I am here for growth. I am here for the light. And to those who love the dark, that statement is a declaration of war. This is why you have always been the black sheep or the scapegoat in groups. It wasn't because you were bad. It was because you were different. You were this system failure in a matrix of mediocrity. You broke the pattern just by being yourself. The group dynamic relies on everyone playing a specific, predictable role to maintain the illusion of harmony. But you were wild. You were unpredictable because you were led by a higher power, not by social conventions. You threatened their comfortable stagnation. So they tried to eject you. They tried to make you feel like the problem so that you would leave, allowing them to return to their comfortable slumber. But you must realize that their rejection was actually divine protection. If they had accepted you, if they had welcomed you with open arms, you would have stayed. You would have lowered your frequency to match theirs. You would have dimmed your light to avoid blinding them. You would have become a smaller version of yourself to fit it into their small boxes. The rejection was a mechanism of grace. It was the universe slamming the door in your face to keep you from entering a room that would have suffocated your soul. You are the chosen one, not by popular vote, but by divine decree. A vote implies that humans have a say in your worth. A decree means it is settled in the heavens, regardless of human opinion. You do not need their acceptance because you have already been approved by the highest authority. So, the next time someone is inexplicably rude, the next time a friend drifts away without explanation, do not chase them. Do not ask what you did wrong. Stand tall in the knowledge of spiritual repulsion. Recognize that your anointing is working exactly as it should. It is filtering out the people who cannot handle your future. It is clearing the path for those who are strong enough to walk beside you. You are being stripped of the dead weight so that you can fly. You are not being rejected. You are being redirected. And now that you understand the mechanics of this repulsion, now that you see the spiritual physics at play, we must go deeper. We must look at the specific forces that have been trying to bind you from the very beginning. We must decode the ancient patterns that were set in motion before you were even born. We must look at the trinity of fate. To claim your future, you must decode the three forces that have governed your life. You have been fighting a war without a map, swinging blindly at shadows that seem to regenerate every time you turn your back. This ends now. We are going to name the demons. We are going to structure the chaos. There are three specific mechanisms that have been operating in the background of your existence, silently pulling the strings of your destiny. This is the trinity of fate. You must understand them, not to fear them, but to dismantle them. Your blood carries more than DNA. It carries echoes. Science calls it epigenetics, but the spirit knows it as the chain. For generations, your bloodline has been bound by specific, recurring themes: poverty, addiction, divorce, or a silent, suffocating despair. You have looked at your parents, your grandparents, and your siblings, and you have seen the same sad stories playing out on different stages. The sins of the fathers are not just biblical metaphors. There are magnetic weights attached to your ankles before you could even walk. You did not choose this burden, yet you feel the crushing weight of it every time you try to move forward. You feel the resistance of 1,000 ancestors who gave up, pulling you back into the mud they died in. But here is the revelation. You were the one chosen to carry the heaviest chain because you were the only one strong enough to break it. You are the anomaly. You are the glitch in the matrix of your family's history. You are the system failure in a lineage of trauma. The reason you have suffered more than the others, the reason you are more sensitive and more aware, is because the curse ends with you. The universe concentrated the toxicity of generations into your cup because it knew you had the alchemy to transmute it into power. You are not a victim of your family tree. You are the lumberjack sent to prune the rot so that new branches can finally grow toward the sun. The chain stops rattling when you decide to stop walking in circles. You are the breaker. This is the dark magic of the soul tie. You have asked yourself why you keep attracting the same type of person with a different face. You found yourself attached to unworthy people, narcissists, takers, liars, and emotional vampires. These were not accidents. These were knots tied in the dark. You felt a pull toward those who mirrored your childhood wounds, because your subconscious was trying to heal the past by replaying it in the present. You mistook this familiarity for chemistry. You thought it was love, but it was just the comfort of a known hell versus the terror of an unknown heaven. The knot is a manipulation of your empathy. It uses your desire to heal others as a trap to keep you wounded. But the knot is tightening now only to force you to wake up. It is squeezing the life out of you so that you finally reach for the sword of divine law. You cannot untie these knots with logic. You must cut them with truth. You cannot heal what you are still tied to. The pain you feel in these relationships is the friction of your soul trying to expand against a bond that was designed to keep you small. The universe is showing you that you cannot carry these people into your new season. They are dead weight. The sword is in your hand. The moment you realize that your value is not dependent on fixing broken people, the knot unravels. You are being called to sever the tie, not out of hatred, but out of necessity for your own survival. Beneath the trauma, beneath the exile, and buried under the weight of the chain and the knot, lies the birthright. You were born with a scepter in your spirit. The reason the world tried to break you is not because you are weak. It is because the world recognized your crown before you did. The enemy always attacks the threats, not the bystanders. They tried to make you a slave because they were terrified of you becoming a monarch. They saw the authority in your eyes when you were a child. They saw the unwavering sense of justice in your heart. They knew that if you ever realized who you truly were, their game would be over. So they engaged in a campaign of gaslighting. They tried to convince you that you were crazy, that you were too much, that you were nothing. They tried to dismantle your identity because your identity is a weapon against their corruption. It is time to stop apologizing for your power. It is time to stop shrinking to make others feel big. The crown is not something you earn. It is something you wear. It has been sitting on your head the entire time, invisible to you but blinding to them. The depression, the anxiety, the fear, these were just clouds hiding the peak of the mountain. You are not a survivor. You are a sovereign in exile, and your return to the throne is imminent. The chain is broken. The knot is cut. The crown is reclaimed. Now, with your identity restored, you must face the ones who tried to destroy you. You must prepare the table. There is a profound shift happening in the atmosphere around you. The cup you were forced to drink, the cup of bitterness, rejection, and betrayal has been emptied. You drank it to the dregs, and it almost poisoned you. But now, the law of compensation begins. The universe, in its infinite balance, cannot allow a debt of this magnitude to go unpaid. You are entering a season where the tables are turning, not by your hand, but by a higher power. Imagine a banquet table set in the middle of a battlefield. The air is thick with smoke and the ground is scorched, but this table is pristine. It is laden with the fruits of your suffering wisdom, peace, abundance, and clarity. And you are seated at the head, calm, composed, and radiating a quiet strength that is more terrifying than any weapon. In the shadows, the enemies watch from a distance. These are the people who mocked your dreams, the ones who spread lies about your character, the family members who excluded you, and the friends who betrayed your trust. They look gaunt and withered. Their eyes are hollow, filled with a hunger that nothing in their world can satisfy. They are starving. You see, they didn't realize that your light was the only thing keeping their world bright. They didn't understand that your kindness was the only warmth they had. When they attacked you, they severed their own lifeline. Their inner emptiness is now a howling wind that Do not look with hatred, for hatred binds you to them. Do not look with pity, for pity insults their choices. Look with a vindictive holiness. See the reality of their condition. They are prisoners of their own ego. They are trapped in a cycle of envy and bitterness that is consuming them from the inside out. They wake up every day needing to drag someone down just to feel tall. They need your reaction to feel validated. But you are free. You no longer need their approval or their apology. You have outgrown the need for their validation because you have found your own worth. The greatest punishment you can inflict upon them is not fire. It is your absence. Vindication is not a loud argument. It is a quiet exit. It is the sound of you thriving without them. It is the sight of you glowing with a happiness they cannot comprehend or steal. The divine law dictates that those who touch the anointed invite their own decay. It is a spiritual law as real as gravity. You don't need to lift a finger for revenge. You don't need to expose their lies or defend your name. The truth has a way of rising to the surface on its own. While you feast at the table prepared for you, enjoying the fruits of your labor and the peace of your spirit, they will realize too late that they didn't break you. They only broke the vessel that was feeding them. They smashed the lantern and are now complaining about the dark. This is the ultimate justice. They are left with the consequences of their actions, while you are released into your destiny. They are left with the memory of your light, a haunting reminder of what they threw away. They will look for you in the faces of strangers, trying to find that same spark, that same empathy, that same anointing, but they will never find it again. You were a once-in-a-lifetime occurrence. You were a comet that passed through their sky, and they missed the spectacle because they were too busy looking at the dirt. Now, the sky is empty for them, but for you, the sky is just the beginning. The table is set, the enemies are watching, and you are eating. You are nourished. You are whole. The meal of your suffering is over. The feast of your victory has begun. They are currently experiencing the phantom limb of your absence. They reach out for the support you used to give, for the listening ear you used to offer, and they grasp only air. This frustration is their sentence. Your silence is their cell. Every time they check your social media and see you happy, every time they hear your name spoken with respect, it is a lash of the whip they braided for themselves. You have become a mirror reflecting their inadequacy, and they cannot look away. The narrative has flipped. You are no longer the victim. You are the victor. You are no longer the rejected. You are the redirected. The table before your enemies is not just a promise. It is a present reality. Enjoy the banquet. You have earned every bite. Now, preparing to leave this table, you must understand the final transformation. You must understand the seal that is placed upon you as you walk away from the battlefield and into the light. The wilderness is finally behind you. The scorching heat that once threatened to dry up your soul has become the fire that forged your spirit. The heavy iron chain that dragged at your ankles for generations has been melted down in the furnace of your perseverance. The bloody silk knot that tethered you to those who could not love you has been severed by the sharp edge of your awakening. You are standing at the precipice of a new dimension. You are reaching the veil. This is not a physical barrier. It is a membrane of reality that separates the old version of you, the victim, the scapegoat, the wanderer from the sovereign entity you were always destined to become. As you pull back this heavy, shimmering curtain, you are stepping into a blinding white light that does not burn but illuminates. You are stepping into the fullness of your power. The sound of 1,000 ancestors whispering "Holy" rises in the background, not in judgment, but in reverence for the one who finally broke the cycle. This is the moment of the seal. You are no longer defined by the trauma of your past or the limitations of your bloodline. You are no longer the byproduct of broken people. You are the architect of a new lineage. Whether you have children or not, you are birthing a new spiritual family tree. The curse stops with you. The poverty mindset stops with you. The abuse stops with you. You have metabolized the poison of your history and turned it into medicine for your future. You are the cycle breaker who refused to pass the baton of pain. You absorbed the blow so that those coming after you would never have to feel it. This act of spiritual heroism has earned you a mark that cannot be erased. The anointing on your life is now a shield that no weapon can pierce. From this day forward, you walk with the authority of the heavens backing every step. When people look at you, they will see something different, a glow, a gravity, a presence that commands respect without saying a word. This is the seal of the chosen. It acts as a divine force field. Arrows of envy will bounce off of it. Whispers of gossip will dissolve before they reach your ears. The negativity of others will slide off you like water off oil. You have been immunized against the opinions of sheep because you have accepted your nature as a lion. You are the crowned one who survived the fire. and the smell of smoke is no longer on your clothes. You smell like rain. You smell like victory. We must seal this transformation right now. This is not just a video you watched. This is a ceremony you participated in. If you feel the fire in your bones, if you know that this message found you at the exact hour you needed it, do not let this moment pass without action. The universe responds to declarations. It responds to the bold claiming of one's destiny. You must solidify the shift in your reality. You must announce to the spiritual realm that the old contract is null and void, and that a new era has begun. I want you to leave a physical mark of your presence in this digital sanctuary. Do not just scroll away and let the algorithm take you back to the noise. Stop, breathe, center yourself in your new identity. Go to the comments below and type this mantra as a decree to the universe. I break the curse, I wear the crown. Say it out loud as you type it. Feel the weight of the words. I break the curse. That is your past dissolving. I wear the crown. That is your future descending. Step out of the shadows that held you for so long. Step into the light that has been waiting for you. Your throne is empty, and it is waiting for the only person qualified to sit on it. It is waiting for you.